welcome to another episode of The Final Siren with Duck and Oz from the Purple Rain. Geez, Oz, a bitter pill to swallow, that one, mate.
Yeah, look, absolutely. It's not the way I'd like to spend a Friday night. And I'm sure 54,000 supporters would have loved to have seen a more fitting way to recognise the accomplishments of Nat Fyfe, but not to be, and certainly, in many respects, Brisbane just came to play. They were beaten up in the media all week, and we knew that they were just going to come out roaring.
Yep.
And they just seemed to be more composed when it mattered. They seemed to take advantage of the situation when it mattered. They were more accurate in front of goal when it mattered, and clinical when it mattered. And for all intents and purposes, this is probably, for Freo, this is probably one of our most disappointing wins, given what was at stake, what was on the line, But it does mean it's all over Red Rover, Duck. That's the most important thing. We want to spin a positive on this as well, but it does make it more difficult. But let's break this game down for what it is, and then hopefully turn it around and have a look at next week.
Yeah, and in the end, Oz, I think it comes down to two things, and they start with pressure and poor kicking. And I think that Brisbane Lions brought a really, really strong pressure game when the ball wasn't in their hands, and in the end, the poor kicking as well that cost us. When going forward, I think we just had a few opportunities that blokes would like to have their time again if they had the chance. Scoreboard pressure obviously being a big one as well. They seemed to not miss a set shot, whilst we had a few issues with our set shots as well, because they're the ones you really need to be nailing. Obviously JT, I think if he had his time again, he had the Nick Revolt moment, which isn't ideal in any case, but Murphy Reid was able to butter up pretty quickly to solve that. But look, to be honest, it was a mixture of poor kicking and poor execution on our end, but it was driven by Brisbane's ability to pressure from forward centre onwards. And look, their doggedness, and like you said, I think they've been whacked by the media. Usually there's not too many whacks going their way, but of course the one game they get against the Dockers in the big lights, they're whacking everyone. Charlie Cameron's getting a whack, Eric Hipwood's getting a whack. They're whacking everyone left, right, and centre, and then we're the ones that have to pay the price on that one.
And look, not ideal. And in every metric that you look at going down the stats sheet, basically, we copped a whack. And I think the one that for me probably is the most outstanding, Duck, and that would have been the uncontested marks early on in the piece, when they just dissected Freo's zonal pressure and were just able to move the ball quite freely, and their players were leading exactly to the areas they wanted the ball to go, and they were able to move the ball quite freely, and it took us some time to adjust. But I will say that in the second quarter, we came hard, and if it wasn't for probably just a lack of inaccuracy, we really had a sniff to come back, because at that stage we were probably 3 or 4 goals down, and we had ascendancy, and we were getting the ball back on our terms, and then it was almost like we went back into our shell, which that very much Brisbane can force teams to do that with their pressure. But, as soon as they put pressure on us, we were looking to handball back, or we were looking to, quick dump kick or whatever it was, and we're never able to buffer the pressure like we normally do. And it really allowed Brisbane just to keep the repeat entries going and the ascendancy going in the forward half pressure. And eventually the dam broke.
Yeah.
Yep.
And look, Brayshaw scores the goal, 25-minute mark of the second quarter to bring it back to 8 points. But, it's just one of those things that I think they came out firing after half-time as well, and we thought we had momentum. But unfortunately, half-time probably did stop that momentum a little bit. So, look, it's just one of those things. I think we're joined by Sam Switkowski. Sam, thank you for joining us. Switta, obviously a bit of a disappointing result, but we're just talking about the pressure that seemed to be out there. What was it like when you're out there with the Brisbane boys? They seem to be bringing a lot of heat.
Yeah, they're a quality team, and I think they brought their best footy tonight. I think if we had put some scoreboard pressure on them early, it may have changed things a little bit. Just got some momentum going our way, but it's hard when you kick 8 behinds to start the game, and it's hard to really turn that momentum when they're putting the scoreboard pressure on. But like I said, they're a quality team. They had more polish tonight. A lot of uncontested marks we just couldn't take away from them, which again, I think at times when we took them away and actually were able to pressure, that's when the intensity picked up and our momentum started to pick up. But Yeah, obviously a tough night.
Yeah, so we actually talked about all the main key points that you just talked about, the uncontested marks early, and then when we came hard in that, especially in that second quarter, just couldn't get bang for buck. And it looked like we were doing everything right. We're, putting the pressure on, getting the balls into the right area, if you will, but then unfortunately just not able to capitalise. Can you talk to us and I know this is very raw, but from a player's perspective, when you're putting all of the right things in place, but yet can't get the finish, how does, psychologically as a player, does it build up with the anxiety? What does it feel like out there?
Oh, it's obviously pretty frustrating out there, especially when you are doing a lot right and just can't finish off your work. And like, we always come together in our lines after goals, and we come with the forwards, and sometimes it's out of your control and there's not much you can do about it, whether for losing clearance or whatever it is, and you feel like you want to do more but you can't. And vice versa, when we're not getting it done ourselves, you just got to try and keep your cool out there. Can't try and do more than what we normally do. Like, there's a bit of a tendency that you can do that for sure when we're not hitting the scoreboard and guys start to feel the pressure a little bit more. So all challenges we've faced before. I don't think we handled it as well tonight, especially when you come up against such a quality team. It doesn't give you an inch. But yeah, a lot of learnings for tonight.
What was J-Lo's message after the game to the boys?
Oh, look, pretty similar to what I said. There's going to be a lot in the game that didn't look great. But again, like, it is one game and we're still in this season. So we came out of that meeting feeling really positive. You can't dwell on this game for too long, as disappointing as it is. And we've got a massive game against the Dogs next week. We've got a 9-day break, which is great, so a chance to freshen up, get a couple of training sessions in. And absolutely, we're in this season. We've been in good form, and it is just one game tonight. So, like I said, as disappointing as it is, we've got to be optimistic and we've got to be in the fight because, the season really, it's in our hands next week. Yeah,
so it comes down to that, doesn't it? So, like you said, you get a longer break now. Big fella send-off technically from home, but hopefully we have another one. We'll see how we go. Yeah. But for him, the big build-up through the week as well, it must have been pretty big around the club. Talk to us about that and the general feeling around the club and especially coming into this game with the send-off for Nat Fyfe.
Yeah, look, a big week from that perspective. I could talk about Nath all night. He's just been an absolute superstar for this club and he'll leave a massive legacy. He didn't want to make too much of a fuss about it this week because obviously we've got some big footy ahead of us this game and come up next week and hopefully more after that. We I guess showed our appreciation earlier in the week and he had his moment, but I don't think he's wanted to talk to the press as much and saving that for when his final game does come. But later in the week then tried to put it behind us a bit because there's some nice energy that comes from it, but you can't get sucked into it too much. You really got to stay focused on the game, and it was similar with Sunday a few weeks ago as well. Another star for us and a great moment and quite an emotional week when he called his retirement. But you got a job to do come the weekend.
Now, like you said, next week, big week, but I guarantee the boys are going to be pretty hungry and ready to fire up and do whatever it takes. Is there anything different that happens over this week with slightly longer prep, but anything different that happens in the lead up to the game against the Doggies, knowing that it essentially is an elimination final in an elimination final? How do you deal with that? Yeah,
look, to be honest, we try and keep it as consistent as possible. Sort of things I spoke about with Fyfe and Sonny before. If you get too caught up in outcomes and big, the emotional part of it and thinking too far ahead on finals, it can only really be a distraction. We find if you get too rolled up pre-game with those sort of moments in big games, it doesn't always help you. We trust in our brand of footy that it gets it done when we're at our best. So we'll just purely be focusing on bringing that next week. Like I said, with the big break, we should have a really good chance to prepare and freshen up. I guess the only difference is it could be, it is elimination. So anyone with any niggles, you just put it aside and you get on with it and get ready to play.
Yeah. Sam, are you watching any other games of footy? And just as a casual, or not a casual, as a diehard Dockers fan, we are doing a podcast for 10 years about it. But are you watching Hawthorn Melbourne last week and you just Hawthorn Melbourne this week, but Western Bulldogs Melbourne, you're like, come on boys, just give us a chop out here. Or are you just it's in our hands, destiny's in our hands, don't worry about results, let's just get it done?
Yeah, probably more so the latter. It's tempting, and it's probably one of those ones where I won't watch, but I'll just keep an eye on the score, and if it's fourth quarter and it's close, maybe I'll tune in. Which I did last week, actually. I think Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Melbourne Western Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Western Bulldogs last week.
Yeah.
It came down to the wire.
Any danger?
Yeah, again, it's just mental energy that we don't need taken out of us. Like I said, the Coxie getting in the way. Yeah, the season's in our hands, so can't control the results. We just got to get it done next week.
Yeah, beautiful. So, again, big week on the track, but I'm sure the boys are going to be cherry ripe, ready to roll. Any sort of words of encouragement for the fans out there? I only say that because they packed out tonight, ready to roll.
Yeah, it was an amazing turnout tonight. When we ran out, one of the louder games of from our fans I've heard, which is awesome. So much appreciation for them for coming out tonight. Hopefully we get another game here in Perth before the season's done, and just support us hard next week. We'll be doing everything we can.
Beautiful.
All right, Sam Switkowski, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Fantastic.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
And just on that Nat Fyfe stuff, obviously, big week, given Nat has decided not to go on for next year. And look, just some little things that I wrote down at the end in terms of just how dominant this guy was, especially I love to, you can nitpick stats, and I'm a big nitpicker, but the guy essentially from 2011 to 2019 was a freak.
Yes.
He was probably,
Freakadeek.
if not the best player of that, the 2010s, definitely in the top three.
100%.
Three-time Doig medal winner during that time, top three on 7 other occasions, fourth in 2015, which was pretty funny because that's when he won his Brownlow.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2-time Brownlow winner, 190 career votes overall, 40 times he's won best on ground, including from round 12, 2014 to round 14, 2015. That's 23 home and away games. So I had to delete the finals from the spreadsheet.
I did see it,
like, how did he not get votes in that final? Obviously, they don't give out votes in the final. He got, let me have a look at this. He got 14 best on grounds, 48 votes, and averaged 2.08 votes per game.
Oh,
so
elite.
And the fact that he got 41 best on grounds from 2011 to 2019, which is 28% of games. So from his first best on ground in 2011 to his last best on ground in 2019, just absolutely dominated. And look, I think the thing that just shows how many votes he got during that time, he was 11th. He's 11th of in terms of votes of all time per game, and he's only got 6 votes in his last 52 games. So, I think in the end, like we talk about, it was quite interesting. Shout out to my man Tyson Cattle. He actually sent me his first interview that he did for Farm Weekly, him and Anthony Morabito.
Oh.
Remember Mora?
Yeah, Mora.
Obviously. Didn't get picked in the first state game. Then came back and kicked 7 goals in the next 2. Obviously drafted for the Dockers, skinny half forward with these big hands.
Yes.
We're like, what's this guy all about?
Guy?
He's playing for Claremont. People are like,
Bang.
mate, Fyfe looks good.
Yep.
So his ability to grow into an absolute dominant player and to win the 2 Brownlow medals is just a testament to the guy and how well he's played.
And look, absolutely. I said this on the pod. At times you're blessed with players that come through your football club and give the fans something to truly cherish and remember. And he's one of those guys, and along with Pav, we're just very blessed to see Fyfe work his magic with the Fremantle Football Club for so many years. Obviously ravaged by injury towards the back end of his career and what could have been. But before that time, my goodness, did we have something special to behold, and we'll always be able to look back on with fondness. And, the 2 Brownlow medals, I mean, to me, I look at Nat Fyfe and his career, and I think, yes, he's got 2 Brownlow medals, but it's more what he actually meant to the football club rather than the Brownlows itself. And I think what he was able to accomplish and what he was able to do, and hopefully still going, and we don't want to say, never and all that sort of stuff, but we really do hope there is another opportunity at Optus to see Nat Fyfe play, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think one thing we can say about Nat is that he's going to do everything in his power to get as much out of his body as humanly possible, and he's done that. And we'll see how we go next week. Does he play longer minutes? Because when he came on, I thought he was very good. He came on and he was useful. He was able to get his big body in there. He managed to get some clearances, which I think really helped our midfield, because our midfield was dominated by bigger bodies today. So, a couple of big decisions there, mate, as to whether or not we inject him in. But going back to Fyfe, I do think that, very fortunate to have watched him played. I still remember the first game he played for the club, and I always thought from that time on we have something special. He hasn't disappointed, and it's been an absolute blessing to see his career.
I think it was great as well. Like, how great is the crowd? Every time he touches, big loud cheer.
Yeah.
Everyone's up and about. I just think it goes to show the credit of the 54,000 that came along today. Majority Dockers fan.
Yes.
Biggest home and away crowd for a non-derby match. Just absolutely outstanding by every Dockers fan to get here on Friday night, because we know Friday night it ain't easy to get to the ground, especially when everyone's trying to get out on the ovals and out on the road, breakdowns, everything central. But guys, on that note, I think we should wrap it up. This has been the final siren. We're Duck and Oz from the Purple Rain. We're at Purple Rain, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At Purple Rain 95, even Oz.
Yeah.
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At the Purple Rain 95 on TikTok, Gmail, and the other one is YouTube. If you're watching this on Docker TV, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell down here. Make sure you stay in the loop with Docker TV, because the media team here have always got a million awesome things that they're showing. A lot of great montages of our man Fyfe this week. The hair, gotta love it.
What's your favourite, just out of curiosity?
Goaty, mate. Goaty Fyfe.
Goaty Fyfe?
Goaty Fyfe is the GOAT, mate. That's there's no better than evil twin brother Goaty Fyfe.
Yeah, it's got some aura about it. I do like Viking Fyfe. Viking Fyfe was something else.
I think you can't go past as well arm sleeve Fyfe, because I think personally
that's his best season.
Well, no, not that it was his best season. I just think it made him stand out. It made him stand out like if he had red hair or something. So it was.
You reckon that's why he got the brown legs, because he wore an arm sleeve?
I think it
Controversy.
was not the reason. It just helped. On that note,
all right.
Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure next Sunday, you get your purple gear on, you get down, you get in with your group of mates, and you cheer on the boys, because, it all comes down to this last game on a Sunday afternoon.
Let's do it, people. Let's do it.
Big break, Marvel City. Marvel Stadium.
Marvel Stadium.
Get around it, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sounds good. See you guys.